Whoa. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk. This is your pre-match build-up. Manchester United versus Arsenal at Old Trafford, and we've got some pretty dampening news heading into this one. No Bruno Fernandes involved in the squad whatsoever. No Marcus Rashford involved in the squad whatsoever. Obviously, Mason Mount got injured in the last game as well. So the lineup we have today, which you can see on your screens, is Andre Onana, Diego Dalot, Casemiro starts again at centre-back alongside Johnny Evans, which is a worry in itself. Aaron Wan-Bissaka comes in at left, well, stays at left back, should I say. The midfielders had a big kind of switch up. We've got AMRABAT, McTominay, and Mainu, who I imagine has never played before, like as a three. And then you have AMAD, Højlund, and Garnacho. AMAD likewise as well, hardly starting the game. I'm going to get to the subs bench shortly, Chive, but just talk to me about that lineup, because I imagine he wasn't feeling confident and great beforehand. But no Rashford, as shit as he's been, great stats against some of the top teams, and likewise with Bruno's a big miss as well, innit?
Huge miss. I was hoping that at least one of them would start, but that's scary. That's really, really scary. It's all on Garnacho and Ahmad now in Højlund. Creativity-wise, are we going to rely on Mainu? Because, I'm speechless. I'm really speechless. And I think what worries me the most as well is Casemiro at centre-back against this Arsenal team.
Oh. Havertz and Ødegaard pulling him left, right, and centre.
It's just going to be, I was saying this to you last time when we were in the chat. I was like, I'll play an academy centre. I just need a natural centre-back.
Yeah.
And then just protect him. Put a natural centre-back in there and protect them with I'd rather have Casemiro in the midfield. But then I understand maybe because of some of his forward passing, I don't know. But I don't get it. And yes, on paper it looks scary, but I just hope the lineup on the pitch is different. But who knows?
Yeah. So on the subs bench, we've got Bayinde, Amas, Campbell on the bench, which is nice to see, I suppose. Ogiene, Collier, Eriksson, Forson, Anthony, and Wheatley. That's the bench that we've got to turn to today if we find ourselves in a bit of struggle. But I suppose if Casemiro's having a stinker again, bring Campbell. I don't know how much he's got, but at least he's a natural fucking centre-back, right? I'd like to see that physical, a lot quicker than Casemiro. But again, it's like you don't want to throw him into the fire. It depends what the scoreline is at the time. I'm looking way ahead. So we'll just start with the back line. Casemiro, as we've slightly touched on, against Crystal Palace was fucking horrendous, wasn't it? Probably his worst performance you've seen. And I know he's a centre-back out of position, and I know the team didn't help him whatsoever, but that it was really bad one each other against them.
It's bad. And what's even worse is that how can we see that and then still repeat the same thing against Arsenal? That was Crystal Palace. This is Arsenal. Like, it's unheard of. I don't know why. I can't even say his name. I almost said Kawabinga.
I wish we had fucking Kamavinga today.
I don't know why he didn't start. Like, I follow him on Instagram, and he was in church this morning.
Yeah,
I could see he put a post in church. I was like, oh, okay.
He's ready.
He's probably not playing. Yeah, but he's playing. His debut was against Liverpool. He doesn't get much more, high pressure than that. He played against Liverpool. I think it was in Anfield. Wasn't it in Anfield?
No. It was so his actual debut was against West Ham, but I think his first full 90 minutes
his
was
start.
Yeah,
it was Liverpool,
first start.
Yeah, so play him. Like, just play him and then bring him off. And then if you want to put Casemiro later, I don't know. But just don't start Casemiro there, because the worst thing you want to do in this kind of situation is give them the lead, because you know how we do whenever we go behind against some of these teams, especially this season. The heads will drop, and then that's it. And then once one goes in, and then this is Arsenal. They played how many minutes against Chelsea, and then one went in, and then like 3 went in right after that. So it's one of them ones where just play a natural centre-back and then just protect him. But, mate, I don't know.
Not looking forward to this one, are we? Johnny Evans at the back as well, for how good he's been, considering he was only supposed to be here for a year. Starting the last game, didn't even pass a fitness test and still threw himself into the fire. rather than, kind of say a 16-year-old kid stepping up and even could have been even worse in that sense. Physically was not at it at all, and that's the thing that worries me. I look at players like Havertz, who will just push forward. You look at Ødegaard, how creative he is, and Saka and these kind of guys. I will get into the Arsenal team in a moment, but that defence really fucking worries me. Really, really worries me. We move into midfield. AMRABAT, McTominay, and Mainu. Now, one good decision, in my opinion, again, I don't know if you'd agree with this or not, Eriksen ain't in the team. Because when Eriksen was in against Palace, physically just not up to it whatsoever, and you're going to need some warriors in there. So are you at least happy AMRABAT starting?
That is the only thing that gives me a little bit of hope in midfield. If deployed in the right way, we can start. I mean, we're talking of 3 defensive players here, but I know McTominay might range forward. So I don't know how that's going to be. I mean, if it's a 2-on-3, then we're back to square one as usual. But if they're deployed in such a way that we are able to stifle them, and if we're going to, I really want us to sit back. And if we're going to sit back with the protection of them 3, defensive-minded players, that gives me a little bit of comfort. But I still don't know how they're going to be deployed. So you never know. But at least Eriksen isn't there, because every time he's been deployed, he's deployed in a deep role, and I don't get it. I really don't see. Maybe the plan is for him to walk the ball from.
Maybe what he wants him there to play through the lines or something, but just what he gets off the ball, it's not worth it, is it?
Yeah, but even that, he's not even able to do that. He's not even able to do that in with the way we're set up. So I don't know how that's going to work out. I just hope we line up differently. I really do. Really do. But just to answer your question. Yeah, it's a big relief that he's not there. We need all the defensive capabilities that we can muster, because that back line is
awful,
open, wide open.
Awful. Arsenal will be looking at that. I mean, they notoriously start very quick. I was saying this to Sam on the previous, against teams, they're sharp and they're on it straight away. And if United go out and start like they did, against Palace, for example, they're going to get fucking turned over. They're going to get battered today. Quite literally, it could be the reverse of the 8-2. And that's not, sensationalist or anything. We could ship a lot of goals.
Realistic.
Realistic, isn't it?
That is a very, very... Yeah, of course. Yeah. It could be this. It could be 7. This could be... gigantic proportions. It could be really, really bad.
At what point do you turn it off? Because today's a tough day for you, especially in it with the Arsenal thing, because we know on this channel. So if you can get some pray emojis in the chat for Chive, I think I'd appreciate it. It's going to be a struggle if it does turn out to be a 5-0 or a 6-0.
Yeah. You know what's even more scary? 2 groups of friends, and where they're predominantly Arsenal fans. Nobody's saying the chat is quiet. Both chats. No one's saying anything. They're just it's just quiet. It's just they're just waiting. So I don't know. But apart from that, it's just I don't know. I'm gonna have to sit through it. This is one I can't walk away from this one. I'm just 10-0, 11-0. I'm just gonna have to sit through and just take it.
The weird thing is, United, and I'm not saying this because I believe we will get pumped today, but we have had a habit, let's say, of turning up in some of the big games at least. Liverpool haven't managed to beat us this season. We knocked them out of the FA Cup. The first probably 70 minutes against Man City, 1-0 up, and then obviously we lost the game 2-1 or whatever it was. And we beat Aston Villa twice, who are obviously a fantastic team. There are games there when sometimes you can decide to turn up. And this might sound a bit controversial and a bit weird to say, but let me just move that graphic because I'll go through that in a second. But if I kind of wish Rashford was starting as well, because as shit as he's been this season, his record's undeniable against the top 6, and he always scores against Arsenal, and that pace and threat in behind as well. If we are going to play, counter-attacking football with the midfield that we've got in place, it would have been perfect for it. I'm just, that front 3, I'm looking at it. AMAD on the right, Chive. First start for United in 887 days. Not sure what we're going to get from a starting position. Do you think that's maybe why they've brought him in? Because his lack of creativity maybe in the midfield a little bit? He's more of a creative winger in that sense.
Possibly, but it's a curveball for Arsenal. It's because I don't think they would have anticipated AMAD starting.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a curveball. So that's the only thing that is slightly unpredictable about in terms of the threat that we pose to them. That's something that they haven't prepared for. And I know AMAD is always up for it. So that could be something. Now, speaking to your point of us turning up when not expected, historically, this is what we've done.
Yeah.
And a little voice in me is saying the same thing, but I don't want to allow myself.
No, I don't.
I don't want
I'm
to get
with you.
carried away.
No, I
Because
don't.
you mentioned, you talked about Marcus Rashford. His Premier League debut was against Arsenal.
Mhm.
Scored 2 goals. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Do
header.
you remember who else was on the pitch? Yeah, we didn't have anyone. We had Hugo Varela, whoever, I don't know if anyone even remembers who that is. You know, we had Varela, we had Jesse Lingard, we had like a makeshift team. It was a patch-up team. Marshall was like our top striker. He was injured. Rashford comes in, scores 2 goals. I mean, it's, you know, so it's one of them ones. I think Andreas Pereira played, I can't remember, but I think he played that game as well. So historically, we've been known to do that. And even then, we could believe at the time that, you know, it was possible. But now, I don't think we've ever been in this sort of period where there has been so much disbelief amongst the fans and the players themselves. And I don't think there's one person on this planet who thinks, you know, however optimistic you are, I think the only thing we can remotely wish for is a draw, remotely. Because if we're going to park the bus, Arsenal will find a way.
Yeah. That makes you think then how the players feeling if they're going into this one, because they're coming off the back of a Palace defeat 4-0. They're coming into this thinking Arsenal are on it, the top of the table for a reason, or second, or whatever they are at the moment. They've got some proper. They are really creative on the ball. They can stretch you. You know, the wingers are very direct as well. They can run at you. They've just got multiple options that can just hurt you from any kind of angle, and that's what worries me the most. Just for people in the chat, I'm going to get into your comments in a moment, but I'm just going to put the line up, a nice little graphic there on the screen for you, just for people who are joining and not entirely sure what the lineup's looking at. So, yeah, I'll just blitz through it again. Garnacho, Højlund, and Amad as your front three. You've got Mainu, McTominay, and AMRABAT. I'm guessing AMRABAT's going to be the 6, Mainu 8, and then McTominay kind of bombing on whenever he can. And then we've got Dalot, Casemiro, Evans at centre-back, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka at left-back with Andre Onana in net. So, yeah, just for people who was asking. Right, Dino saying Amad is starting, should be interesting, but if he has a bad game, it's one game and it's against Rice and Partey. Most players would struggle against that. Very dripped out saying, what is that lineup? Why did Ten Hag not put Scott's centre-back? I don't know. Obviously don't fancy him, does he? Mainu does have magic in his feet. Camboila is class. Sam saying, how early can I hit the whiskey? I'd start now, mate, if I was you. Get a couple in.
Yeah, I would have started this morning.
Yeah, I would have started this morning. I had my first pint at 12:30. See, Dino's on it there. He knows exactly what the crack is with that. Obviously a big one, Chivy, for us. What percentage, starting off, we'll go into a couple of other talking points. What percentage would you give us in this game out of 100? What percent of a chance do you give us getting a result? 5, did you say?
5. Yeah, 5.
5%.
To get a win or just a result?
To get a result. Yeah.
10.
Do you know what Sam said?
Well,
1.5.
Sam. Yeah. It's Sam. Sam is the worst scenario. That's
yeah. Just it makes him feel slightly better if it does happen, and it's like, yeah, you know what I mean. Top of the league for set pieces, Arsenal. Chive, another thing to consider that we've spoken about how good they are on the ball, how how effective they are in the press, but set pieces is another thing in it that we've got to watch out for.
Yeah, you know what scares me, just to pick up on what you said earlier on about coming off a 4-0 defeat at Palace, and how the players are going to be feeling going into this. Now, another thing that scares me is I don't want to throughout yesterday. All I could see was like a red card. I see someone getting a red card, like trying to be overzealous because they know that they have to overcompensate for the loss. It's at home. The fans are going to be anxious, and I just kept seeing red card. Like I just hope we're able to just keep our emotions in check and not overdo it, right? But yeah, speaking about set pieces, Jesus Christ, like this is the sort of thing where someone's being overzealous. We take someone down, a penalty, free kick in a dangerous area, those kind of things. Crosses, and on top of everything, Arsenal have a full squad.
Yeah,
like a full squad. Like they've got firepower off the bench. Trossard is, they could take
Top player.
Martinelli off him. Yeah, and then bring in Trossard, or they can bench Thomas Partey. I don't know who's starting for them, but they can switch that midfield up with Partey, with what's his name, Jorginho. I mean, they've got options. They've got mad options.
Yeah.
So what we're going to need is that home crowd. We're going to need that home crowd more than ever before.
Well, that home crowd will only mirror what the lads are showing on the pitch, right? I know that the away fans at Palace last week were amazing, and they stayed there in numbers, and they was chanting them and supporting them. But you'd have to think if it gets to 5-0, 6-0 at Old Trafford, it's. I can't see anything other than that. I genuinely cannot. If they pulled it out of the bag today, it'd be one of the biggest shocks this season for me. Because I've watched these guys against decent teams in the top half of the table, and they've picked them apart when they've had fully fit squad. Arsenal themselves have got Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, Rice, Partey, Ødegaard, Saka, Trossard, Havertz. That's the lineup. And then they've got Jorginho, Smith Rowe, Martinelli, Jesus, and Nketiah, who they can bring off the bench as well. So you're talking about a fully fit Arsenal here. It's going to take a miracle almost to get a result. What would you be satisfied with? I know that sounds like a loaded question, but would you be, if we got a draw out of this, would you, or is that just a stupid question to ask? Would you take that in a heartbeat?
Absolutely take a draw right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If I would be overjoyed. I'll celebrate that like we won the league. No, okay, no, I'm not gonna go crazy.
Close.
Yeah, but like I would. It would make my week.
Yeah.
It would make my week
Legit.
if we get a draw. Yeah, it would legit make. Just keep a 1-1. That's what I want. 1-1 draw, and just hold and just hope for the best. But yeah.
Well, if you're a fan of stats, Man United have just lost one of their past 16 Premier League home games against Arsenal, which was a 1-0 defeat in November. I don't know if we should read too much into that or not, but that's a stat just to get a bit of positivity out there. On the flip side of things...
Can you read that again? Sorry.
Yeah. Man United have lost just one of their past 16 Premier League home games against Arsenal. Yeah. A 1-0 defeat in November.
That does not mean shit.
On the flip side of things, Man United have lost 18 games in all competitions this season. They last lost more in a single campaign in 1977. Which defeats have felt the worst for you this season, Chive? When you go back through it, we're going to do an end of season review, obviously at the end of the season, but just as a quick recap now, what defeats have felt the worst?
Come on, you could just, mate, there's too many, but I think the one where I kind of just lost it completely, I don't think I've recovered from it, was the Brentford.
Brentford
one, like, yeah.
30-odd shots from Brentford.
Yeah, I left first half, so I didn't even watch the second half, and I still haven't fully recovered from that one. That was the worst for me, because that was the realization then hit me that it doesn't matter what we're facing, he's still going to play in the same way, regardless of what's happening. There's no alternatives to this style of play, and that was the realization for me. Because we beat Liverpool, so there was a bit of a high there, and then we lost to Fulham, and I was like, okay, let's get back on it. Like, we'll take Brentford, and then just nothing happened. So for me, that was it. But I mean, there's so many I can go through, but if I had to pick one, it would be that one.
Yeah. To flip it around, Arsenal have almost had the polar opposite season to us. Still technically fighting for the title, of course. City got a 4-0 win over Fulham. What's your thoughts been on their title race, and would you rather have Arsenal or City win it? That's the big question everyone's asking.
Yeah. So I'm not from Manchester. And I didn't grow up in England, so I never had to experience the whole Manc rivalry personally. I never grew up around Scousers, so I never really got to experience the Liverpool rivalry. I grew up surrounded by Arsenal fans. Nigeria is predominantly Arsenal. So for me, that was, when I first got into football, that was my enemy, like in the 90s. Like that was, so I know this could sound very ludicrous, but just from my perspective, Man City can win the title for the next 100 years. I wouldn't care. I would not care. But I'm not Monk, so, and I understand people who find that outrageous, but it's just from my own personal sort of.
Yeah.
Those are the first people I knew who hated me. I mean, we're football crazy in Nigeria, so it's different for us. You know, so for me, like City can go ahead and win it for 100 years. We know they're foul. We know there's some foul play there, so it's not really a win for them. To say. But Arsenal, and what even makes it worse is that they're doing it in the right way. They're building, making right decisions, literally doing everything that we're not doing and getting success from it. So that even makes it worse. And the fact that if they win today and City has to face Tottenham, who's been a bogey team for them, this win might actually win them the league. So that's even, you know, this is something that I'm battling with, but you just have to take it, man. I feel like Murder Inc. and Arsenal is like 50 Cent and the whole G Unit thing. It's like, you were on top, and then now, your enemies is just like for anyone who's born in the 2000s and don't understand what I'm talking about, just Google the whole Murder Inc. 50 Cent thing. Yeah.
If you want any good news, Chivy, the women's team are 3-0 up at Wembley in the FA Cup final, so that's nice to hear, I suppose. And congratulations.
I try to watch. I try to follow the women's team whenever I can, and the under 18s as well. That's the only thing that kind of gives me joy.
Yeah, so that Wembley as well for the second time, which is nice to see the game growing in it. I suppose I have to admit I don't watch much of it myself, but yeah, you know they're achieving things. It's fantastic, and at least they're doing what the men's team can't. Because I think in that as well, a lot of people are looking forward to the FA Cup final, and in that respect, I think we're going to get absolutely dicked by Man City, even if we've got players back and fit. So I've almost got nothing to look forward to this season. I'm just not. I'm ready for the end of it, much like you are. I'm thinking Arsenal, we get past this. If we get another slap in, I just don't see how the players can pick themselves up and recover against Newcastle and then Brighton as well. I just think we're going to get played off the park, and I think it's definitely got room to get worse in the next 3-4 games. So I'm almost, it sounds really sad and depressing, but I'm just not expecting anything whatsoever. Like, I'm not even gearing myself up for this game saying maybe there's an opportunity there, because there isn't. And I'd love to be proved wrong, but I saw enough of that Palace game to know what's going to happen today. Even I don't care if you're at Old Trafford, I don't care what record they've got there. We're going to get fucking smashed today. And it's depressing. Absolutely depressing.
It's depressing. Like, yeah, none of that matters. Whatever the stats was before then, none of that matters today. Like, it's us against them today, and there's no way possible. You know.
What are your thoughts on the front three? I know we talked about Ahmad. Højlund's gone a little bit quiet at the moment. What do you think that? What's the reason for that? Do you think?
I mean, it could be so many things. I think also like the pressure as well gets to him, and it's one of those things where we always think footballers aren't like robots, or they're not like characters on FIFA where you can just press R and shoot. No, they're humans. They have emotions. They go through things as well. So it's not like, all right, you know, every single time you're gonna get this from this player. It all, you know, the mood in the dressing room, the style of play, everything just kind of, you know, is a combination. And it's his first time in, thrown into the fire. So, you know, and to be fair, I don't think he's as good as we really thought he was. I'm not slagging him off or anything, but I think maybe we put a little bit too much hope on him in terms of like his ability.
Which is unfair, isn't it, really?
Which is kind of unfair, and you know, he doesn't, you know, he's not going to say no to playing. He's not going to say no if he gets picked to play. So it's one of them ones. Garnacho and AMAD offer a little bit of unpredictability, and that's the only thing that kind of. And for some reason, I also think we might see something from Scott McTominay because he's not a big game player. But the front three, I don't know. I know they'll put in a shift. They always do. But in terms of, you know, how that turns out.
Because even Garnacho's like fell off a little bit, and again, these are kids. Like we're talking about 19, 20-year-old kids here, but finishing wise, it fell off recently, hasn't it?
Yeah, but Nick, who can we say in this team that consistently performed this season?
No, yeah, I agree.
No one has performed consistently. Even Kobe Mino has been a breath of fresh air, but he's been hung out there like
dropped a little bit now, hasn't it? Which you would your environment encapsulates how you perform in that.
Everything it's everything that kind of adds up, and you know it's hard to. Especially for people for Højlund, Garnacho, Ahmad, for the youngsters coming in, it's really hard to expect too much from them at the moment. So it's unfair, really. But it is what it is. I mean, if they want to, it's up to them now. They need to step up. Like they really need to. If they really want to, if they really want to make a name for themselves, they need to channel that inner Federico Makeda and do something because he came on when we needed him the most. So we'll see what happens. With AMAD though, I saw a few things in Liverpool win that I was really impressed with. Not just the goal.
The FA Cup.
He
talked
yeah,
about
the FA Cup. Yeah. Remember, like he took the ball off a few players a few times.
Mm-hmm.
So his work rate was not, because one thing we're talking about before we saw him was about, how physically he is and if he's up to it. And yeah, but he showed really, really intelligent, reading the game, stealing the ball off. It wasn't even like tackles. He was just stealing it off them. So it's little things like that kind of fill me with hope, but it's 90 minutes. 90 minutes. I don't know how we're gonna survive that. So
let's take a couple of the quotes from Tenag because there's a couple of things coming out. A good mentality. This is the least I can expect from my team. Basically, what can we expect as fans today? The reporters asked. Fight. That's what he wants. The last days we trained with Rashi and Bruno, trained for 2 days, but he was not far enough to recover from his injuries. That's fine. I don't want him rushing him back anyway. In the last moment, Bruno Fernandes could not make it. He's saying, and on Amad Diallo, he said he deserves his chance. Which I'm looking at him like he deserved his chance ages ago. I'm just, how long have we been talking about that? Anthony's been putting in stinkers for ages, man. And even when Pellistri first came in and you're playing forcing, they're not pulling up trees. For his first start in nearly 1,000 days, that's fucking outrageous for me, personally. But I suppose, we might eat our words today. He might, have a bad performance or whatever. But from what I've seen, the cameos that he's had at least, I know I always kind of, not fanboy him, but, push him up there on a pedestal. It's because I believe he's a good player, and whenever he's come on and got the chance, he's brought everything what you want from that right-hand side. When Anthony's just losing the ball constantly or not beating a man, he'll beat a man, he'll link up play, combine, he'll trap back like you touched on before. I never understood why. Like, I know sometimes you have managers in it who just set players to just, don't like. But you've seen it with Jadon Sancho, for example. I think him and Amad are similar in the respects where they need players, around him to kind of pieces of the puzzle. And Tenag just seems to like more direct, hard-working, pacey players. I don't know. Is it anything in that, do you think? I don't know. I'm just riffing.
I used to say for me, I thought it was just a personal preference. I think he just preferred Anthony. It's his man, it's his big money signing. So he's going to want to play him. He's had a longer relationship with him. For some reason, he believes him more than he does to Ahmed.
Politics upstairs as well, you'd think, in it.
Yeah, but then and then the same can be said about Forsen. Like, why was he constantly playing Forsen over Ahmed? So many times. So I don't know. I don't know what that is all about. For me personally, I just thought it was personal preference, but that's just my own feeling. Who knows?
It's bizarre, isn't it? I don't think anyone knows really, apart from the people that are actually in the club training ground every day.
We did hear reports, but I'm very skeptical about reports. But we did hear reports months ago about like the feeling in the dressing room about preferential treatment and all that. That's just what but it's reports, so I can't really read too much into that.
Yeah. He's saying he's got the X factor over the last months. He's brought so much energy in training, quality in training. He's made good progression. I'm hoping we can see that today. I'm just hoping we put, if he showed a bit of a good performance, I'd take that. I'm scraping the barrel here, but genuinely I would, because that Palace one was just one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. Drips says, when Bruno gets injured, it's scary. That's our best playmaker, and you saw against Crystal Palace with no Bruno. Unbelievable. Sam saying, one bit of good news is the women are up 3-0. Yeah. Dino saying, rather Arsenal to win it. Don't want City claiming 4 in a row, but hope if they're found guilty of the 115 charges, then I'd strip every title off him. Avram Glazer's at Wembley, got the private jet out again. And Fiona Fifi says, Team Arsenal, you there? I don't know what that means, but okay. Right, Chive, should we do the ultimate score predictions? Because I think this is going to be interesting. Honestly, how do you think this game's... Just give me a little bit of a narrative how it's going to play out as well. What do you feel? I know it's hard to predict sometimes, but what are you expecting from the off in this game?
maybe 4-0 Arsenal,
Mm.
I think. Yeah. I saw what they did to Chelsea. I think it might be one of them 4-0 games. I was literally going to say if we make it to halftime, then we have a chance. But then at the same time, we went 1-0 halftime with Liverpool. They scored like in the last minute of the halftime, and then came back and scored 6. So So yeah, I don't know, 4-1, 4-1, 4-0 Arsenal. This is what I feel it's going to be, something like that.
Are you expecting a slow start from the team? Do you think they'll be on us straight away? Do you think it'll be? I'm suppose what I'm asking is, will it be more like the Anfield game, if you remember, because that was every man behind the ball, wasn't it? Trying to protect it. We came out with a 0-0. Do you think they'll go down that route, or do you think it'll be a bit more naivety, open, Arsenal picking us apart?
To be honest with you, I don't want to see a fast start because every single time, even against Palace, remember before the goal went in,
yeah,
Mason Mount was looking really like up for it. I was quite impressed with his early plays, and we always look up for it in the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever, and then they always come in and score. So yeah, it's all fun and games, and then we got punched in the face, and then it all goes tits up from there. I don't want to say control. I don't want to say control before you jump on it, but I want a controlled start. I want a slow start. I want to, I don't want a fast start.
Yeah. Just frustrate them almost. Slow the tempo down at bits if we need to. Get them second fouls. Make it a little bit of a street fight in that sense, but not a stupid street fight where we're just leaving ourselves open. I think I would absolutely agree with that. And I do think AMRABAT coming in and alongside Mainu and McTominay, I think that it's different in it, I suppose. With Ericsson and Mount, who played last time, he was just pushing on, and then Mainu's on his own. I don't want to see any of that shit. It's just stupid naivety for me. So at least he's switched up in that sense. Whether we get a result or not is a completely different conversation. I'm going to go... fucking hell, man. I think 5-1, probably. Yeah, I could see that. 4 or 5 goals are definitely getting shit past us today. I think they would do incredibly well to get a draw, and I know that sounds defeatist, but look, everyone knows the reality of the situation where we're at, so we can't.
It's realistic. It's a realistic expectation. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an optimistic expectation, really.
Yeah, you can't sugarcoat it. It is what it is. Yeah. Right. We'll leave it at that. We'll see what this game brings us. Me and Sam are going to be live straight after the game with our post-match analysis as always. So we do hope to see you guys in there. Just a quick one before we head off. We're on 4,995 subscribers. So we're 5 subs off 5K. So, it's probably going to be a depressing day in terms of performances, but you can at least cheer it up a little bit if we can hit that 5,000 mark. That'd be absolutely incredible and amazing. Chive, I wish you very well, mate, because I know it's a personal game for you today as well. So, all my best wishes towards you.
It's very sunny and hot, but I'm dressed in black because
the burial of United. That's what it's going to be.
Morning. Yeah, I mean morning.
Yeah. Oh, God. Right. Take it easy, everyone. We'll see you after the game. Let's see what fucking United team turns up. See you in a bit.